on record?
Still on record? Yep. There we go. Thank you. Please call, we'll call to order the City of Lincoln City City Council Special Council Meeting, February 3rd, 2014, 3:30 p.m. Thank you all for being here. Roll call, please.
Mayor Anderson.
Here.
Gordon Eggleton.
Absent. Excused.
Gary Ellingson.
Here.
Chester Norikis.
Here.
Roger Sprague.
Here.
Henry Quant.
Here.
And Wes Ryan.
Stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, with liberty.
Justice for all.
Any comments from public? Seeing none, we'll move on. And no consent agenda. We have special order of business. First item is authorization to issue notice of intent to award bids. This is the U.S. Highway 101 Utility Relocation Project.
Thank you, Mayor. There's two projects that will be involved in the relocation of utilities. One is a city project, which is what we're talking about today, and the second will be ODOT will also be relocating some of the lines, and we'll be dealing with a contract to reimburse ODOT at the next council meeting. We received bids last Thursday, and Public Works, you can kind of take the council through the bid.
Okay, go ahead, Steph. Okay. Good evening, good afternoon. So on the 30th this month, we opened bids for the city's portion of relocating utilities for the ODOT Nelscott Improvement Project. We had how many bidders? 7 bidders. And the lowest responsive bid was K&E Excavating, Inc. So this is the portion of the work that the city's responsible relocating prior to ODOT beginning their work. We need to have this work substantially moved along before ODOT's contractor shows up to the project site, which is scheduled to be sometime mid-April. So there's a sense of urgency to get this project moving and get the contractor reviewed, do a review of the contractor's performance history, make sure there's someone we can enter into a contract with. And so we've done all that. We've looked at K&E's history. Their CCB, of course, is in good standing. We've also asked them to provide us with a list of references. We called some of the references they provided, which were agency references, people, the owners of the projects, and they gave us, we had 3 very good references from K&E. You'll notice from the bids that there's 2 things I want to point out. We did bid this in 2 ways. One was to allow lane closures during the day. We knew that would have impacts on our traffic, but we also suspected that it may give us a better bid if we were good to allow lane closures during the day, as ODOT permits. However, we did bid this out with lane closures, with no lane closures during the day, and we found that those differences were very small. Especially the contractor who was low bid, they only bid $1 more. So we will be keeping lanes open during the day, as well as another interesting element of this bid, these bids, is that the low bid is substantially lower than the second low bid. We looked at the bid tabs, compared, and tried to figure out why that was the case. Was there something that was left out? Was there something blatant that we needed to look at, make sure that there wasn't a mistake, either in our documents or with the bidder documents? And what we observed was most of the bid items were just a slight bit lower than their competitors, so there wasn't one item that was noticeably lower. The representatives from K&E also acknowledged that they wished they weren't as low as they came in. But they recognized that, and they wanted to honor their bid, and they wanted to do this work. So with all of that, council, we're recommending, Public Works is recommending that the council direct the city manager or his designee to issue a notice of intent to award. What will happen if council approves that action, we will issue a notice of intent that's received by all of the bidders, and then on the date of the notice, we give them 7 days to protest, or we also, by law, have 7 days that we need to wait before we then issue a notice to proceed. So we're asking for tonight just to go ahead and issue the notice of intent to award to K&E in the amount of $688,531.75, as well as a notice of intent to all of the bidders. And then we'll come back Monday evening at the council meeting with a request to move forward with awarding the bid.
And at that time, we will include a contingency amount authorization in the event that there is quantity overrun or an unforeseen condition that we really couldn't determine in advance. We will ask you for a contingency. That way, if the contractor runs across something that they can't, that is substantially different, they don't have to wait for a special council meeting. Staff can say, yeah, we believe that that is a change of conditions and can authorize the work to proceed with a change order. So we'll have that as part of the award. If we get a protest, then we'll be scheduling a hearing to hear the protest. And again, I wouldn't expect a protest on this.
Yeah. Again, Mr. Hucker, the purpose for the special meeting today is just to move this along, grab that extra week before our next meeting.
Yes.
In order to, because we've got a tight timeline at the end date project.
Right. We thought that every day that we can save on this end of it makes it a little bit easier to beat ODOT. That date of ODOT sounds a little bit optimistic to me, and we'll be monitoring that pretty closely. But we want to do our best to meet that date.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
What's the expected time that they think that it'll take to remove those lines?
Our contractors, 3 months. We think we'll be 3 months.
They're figuring 3 months?
Correct.
But ODOT's talking about starting in early April, right? That's beyond 3 months.
That's true. Well, the entire project duration is 3 months. That's our estimate of the project duration. And what we've done is put provisions so that they start with where ODOT wants us out of. They start at the south end, and that's where ODOT wants to begin first. It's all still based on the contractor that ODOT, the contractor's preference when ODOT does award that bid. So currently, the agreement is we will try to be as far along as we can by April 15th. We're supposed to be completely off-site, but we've told ODOT that just, ever since that provision, ever since they requested that just wasn't going to be possible. So we'll be trying to be as far as long as we can, and we'll be trying to be as far north as we can by that date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? Chester?
Mr. Hawker, if we do get a protest, will that threaten the timeline?
I have an answer to that question yet. I'm waiting for the city attorney to advise when the hearing could be held. If the hearing could be held next Monday night, or for example, maybe Tuesday following the Monday meeting, because I know we have a pretty full meeting coming up Monday, then it wouldn't hold it up much at all, assuming that the protest wasn't successful. Okay. Now, if a contractor comes in with some irregularity that in the bid process, and I doubt they're going to find one, I don't know. That I don't expect that to happen. I'm not going to say never. But yes, it could have, if we get a protest, it could potentially, if it's successful, have a serious impact.
Thank you.
Stephanie, following up on Councilor Sprague's question, I'm assuming, so we don't have anything in our bid process that required a completion date with K&E. Has to be certainly, or penalties start coming into play or anything like that.
Yeah,
so,
we do.
Oh, we do.
After June 1st. Yes,
so
we do.
For sure, they've got to be done by June 1st.
Yeah.
Otherwise, penalties
Then
start
liquidated
playing.
damages start to incur.
You'll hear that phrase from us many times because it's in almost all of our contracts, liquidated damages. What that means is instead of getting to the end of the project and having the contractor run over, let's say, 2 weeks, and then you start arguing about what damage that caused the city, if any. And you can argue about that, and it ends up in court, and you argue and argue, and ultimately it's resolved. The other way to do it is resolve that in advance by saying, these are the damages per day. And that's a number you carefully select because it can scare contractors off. It can make the bids go out of sight. It depends on the project. So this contractor, fortunately, has the capacity to do this job and do it on a timely basis.
Good to hear.
And I should clarify that's we said June 1st, but it's really 90 days from when the contract is notice to proceed is given. So whatever that actually comes out to be.
Good. Other questions from council? Hearing none, and certainly entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we direct the city manager, the council direct the city manager or as a designee issue a notice of intent to award to K&E Excavating, Inc. in the amount of $688,531.75.
Seconded.
We have a motion with a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ellingson,
Yes.
Norikis,
Yes.
Sprague,
Yes.
Quant,
Yes.
and Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Then we have do you want to go to the pipe, purchase of pipe, Nell Scott Utility Water relocation?
Yes, and this is for the same project. We were purchasing our water pipe ahead of time, and the sewer pipe's in the other bid by the contractor, but we wanted to be able to get our pipe here as fast as possible. And so it's for 700 feet of 24-inch and 800 feet of 12-inch water main. And we did a bid with three bidders. So we had Consolidated Supply as the low bidder, and that was American Products at $127,462.30. And Ferguson Waterworks was at $128,157.93, and HD Supply at $128,212.24. And it's our recommendation to go with that low bidder for the American Products, and they're just it's just a better quality. We put them in the ground, and they'll be there for many more years than if we use foreign products. And so our staff recommendation is purchasing the Made in America products and awarding the supply contract to Consolidated Supply in the amount of $127,462.30.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the bid from American Products. It was what, 101,000, was it?
$127,462.30.
127,000. That amount.
Actually from Consolidated Supply, but for the American product.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's Consolidated Supply, but it's American-made
front of it.
products.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Lila, we've done this before, have we not? We bought we, being the city, have bought the pipe, so it's on site.
Right, right. And we have a place located at the Devil's Lake Rock site to place the pipe. So we have the storage area all arranged for, and we did this for the Drift Creek line.
That was it, the Drift Creek one. And not only having it on site and ready, but isn't there also a savings to some degree?
I would think so, because they always mark materials up. But this one it's a good one to purchase ahead of time.
And it was interesting to also recognize the difference in foreign product and American product and
Yes,
some of the rationale behind it.
We asked for
Yeah,
that.
that was
to
helpful.
be
We actually do that for all of our water parts that go in the ground. I'm talking about small valves on service lines, everything. We have greater certainty that the standards are being met with the kind of inspections that we get from the American-made products.
It's good to hear.
Mr. Mayor?
Chester?
Mr. Hawker, is there a line at which we say that's American-made product is too expensive and we have to go with a foreign product?
Well, I think in the case of a lot of steel, for example, structural steel, where you do a lot of pilings, there can be considerable savings, and steel is graded pretty uniformly throughout the world. I don't think that's that big a deal on some things. This, I think, is a little different, and yeah, I guess there would be, if there's a big enough price difference, I guess we'd be talking to you about it.
But for the most part, we order American-made products
Well, in the things that go in the ground,
in the ground.
yeah. But you can't buy a computer that's made, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, that's not universally true. There is so much made in other countries.
Mr. Sprague?
Didn't we have some pipe left over from Schooner Creek?
We did. We just used that on Southeast 48th, the slide there, when we
That was-
replaced that line.
16-inch, right?
It was 24-inch.
Oh, it was?
It was the 24-inch that came out of the Schooner Creek landslide, and so we stored that at the plant, and that had to be new pipe that was put back in the ground there.
We still have 1,000 feet of the high-density polyethylene laying along Schooner Creek Road.
That's what I thought.
That's not suitable for this project.
It's the wrong size, unfortunately.
And we're kind of guarding that preciously because that's a big insurance policy for us.
And this large project, we're planning on taking the pipe out of the ground and storing it, so we'll have another 600, 700 feet of pipe.
Good.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Then roll call, please.
Norikis,
Yes.
Ellingson,
Yes.
Sprague,
Yes.
Quant,
Yes.
and Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, both ladies. And our other item is authorization to release limited work product from consultant.
Yeah, I'm going to be extremely brief on this because it involves pending litigation. One of our litigation attorneys is asked us to authorize formally the release of certain information at his discretion. He normally would have that authority to do so anyway, but in this particular case, the other side wants council confirmation. We have a motion for you, and I believe Kathy has distributed it to you. Or will.
Or will.
Yeah. Or just read it.
Yeah, that would be fine.
The motion is, I move to authorize Robert Franz to share the data of the expert on wetlands mitigation with the other parties to the litigation in his discretion and to the extent he decides. This authorization is for the lawsuit entitled CETA versus Lincoln City, case number 123935, and is not a waiver of our work product or attorney-client privilege.
Would someone care to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Norikis,
Yes.
Sprague,
Yes.
Quant,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
And Ellingson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hucker. No other business, city manager report?
Nope.
We're good for any comments from citizens? Seeing none. And no comments from council? Seeing none. We stand adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor.